thank you for doing this with us. I would like to can I go ahead and introduce some great people. Grahm Plaster is he's Navy, and he's he's Navy, and he's got also another icon of innovation in the intelligence space and in the national security space. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Grahm Plaster and Jack Ryan. And thank you so much. As soon as you're off mute.
Hey everyone, this is Grahm Plaster, Jack Ryan and Nick Breedlove, and we're very excited to give you all an update on some things that have happened over the last year and a half. If you were a part of America's Future Series, the event that was hosted in November of 2020, you might remember that Jack and I partnered up to help put on a pitch event, and Nick was one of the lead judges for that event, and we brought in over 100 companies to bring some emerging technologies to bear on the national security problem set. And we brought a bunch of investors in there. We hosted it in a 3D room environment, kind of pivoting off during COVID to try to do it in a new and innovative way. And what we saw was there's a lot of really exciting new technology that's being birthed in the garages across America. And what we started to really believe is that there's an opportunity now to decentralize a lot of the innovation of Silicon Valley and what we're calling Silicon Nation. And so we formed a fund, and it's emerging venture fund, and I'll let Jack talk about that a little bit. But we're just excited to announce it to you guys and let you know as early adopters that there are multiple ways to participate, either as an investor or pitching your technology. So reach out to us and we'll give you some instructions on that in a minute. Jack?
Great, thanks, Grahm. And then, another big thanks to David and Michelle and the whole America's Futures Series team. You guys brought us together. We came together, worked together, as Grahm mentioned, really found that passion and that collaborative gel that you don't always find working with people. But, the three of us came together, largely due to David and Michelle. And this, it's a big network. It's not just America's Future Series, but it's a big network that they've cultivated and brought together. And the follow-on connections and conversations that we've had that came out of that event really is what led us to where we are at today with Expeditionary Ventures. So thank you again for that. So kind of overarching, background, the three of us all, we live and breathe in the defense innovation space. So what we've been, focused on in our day jobs and all our, external activities with groups like Defense Entrepreneurs Forum, which I'll be talking about later on, we get to see a wide angle of the ecosystem when we talk about defense innovation. So largely what I mean there is, we get to see from laboratories to and universities all the way to the endpoint of a technology transitioning. And along that way, there's all kinds of points that a technology has to move through. So what we found in looking at that and having these relationships, across other venture funds, we identified that hardware was really that kind of underfunded, non-protected piece moving through time. And we saw that there was an opportunity at the early stages to jump in there and provide that value to those type of companies. Because, as a hardware technology, you have longer runways to come to market. It's a harder opportunity to put the transition off or pivot away from that technology once you get it going. So what we found is with our backgrounds and our relationships in the ecosystem, we can really drive these hardware technologies, as well as all the mechanisms we're aware of non-dilutive funding throughout the process, to kind of jump along and ride along with this fund. So we're very excited about it and helping these underfunded companies, bridge those valleys of death. I'll give you a quick background on myself. So I went to Norwich University, Military College of Vermont. I had every intention of going right into the military, ended up taking a little detour for about 6 years in Hollywood, but learned a lot in the technology advancement arena through there. 9/11 happened, ended up joining the Navy, spent 5 years on active duty in the expeditionary warfare community. So got to see a lot of the Army, Marine Corps, Air Force, as well as the Navy. I had a lot of crossover there. And then, like I said, with our connections to the ecosystem, I'm the head of Defense Entrepreneurs Forum here in Austin, and try to coordinate a lot of stuff, what's going on here in Texas. Nick, I know you're working with Michelle and David up there to help launch Defense Entrepreneurs Forum there in Dallas and Fort Worth as well. But that's our connection to the ecosystem, how we kind of identified a segment for us to play in here in the venture space, and we're looking forward to it. So, Nick, I'll pass things over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Jack and Grahm, and thanks, David and Michelle, too. So, Jack and Grahm both kind of highlighted what we saw a couple of years ago, which was you had a lot of nascent players growing, real tons of energy and inertia right now, trying to get trusted private capital connected with the startups that are going to help the warfighter, right? And that's going strong. I think everybody's a part of that in some way. But what we noticed, there was a lack of that connection specifically to dual use hardware technologies. And so we kind of explored that, explored the landscape, like Jack said, the other VCs playing in that and how few are actually playing in overtly, at least, hardware. And so we went on a listening tour last year, probably 12 or 15 months worth. I would say we talked to close to 100 family offices, high net worth individuals that act as angel investors, some of you on this call, and even a few institutional investors like endowments. And we asked them very simple questions. Hey, do you ever invest in technologies of any kind that are dual use for national security purposes and can be commercialized? We also asked them, do you care about hardware? Do you care about early stage? And it was overwhelming, the consistency of the answers that we got on this listening tour over a year. And I'll give you kind of a summary of the 4 things that were consistent. First, these are otherwise very sophisticated investors, but almost all were ignorant of investing in technologies that go to national security usage. Some were scared of that, most were not. Second, they all considered this impact investing. And impact investing that's a part of every portfolio now. Other people call it ESG, but for us, impact investing for national security purposes is real. 100% of them wanted to have that impact, but they also want the ROI, and clearly that has to be a part of the equation. Third, they're all craving fresh deal flow. Hardware technologies like flying ships, Li-Fi with quantum, 3D printed fuels, those are just examples of companies that are on terms with us today, but that's fresh deal flow that these investors who are not in this space have never seen before. That's exciting for them. And fourth, none of them are afraid of hardware. Software totally has eaten the world. A lot of reasons to invest early stage in software, cybersecurity, AI, ML. We get that. That's being covered, though, from a trusted private capital standpoint. And so none of these investors were scared of early stage hardware, but they just didn't have access to it the way a lot of people on this call do. So that's where Grahm and Jack and I have come together to really attack that thesis. Grahm, back to you.
So we just want to invite you all to participate with us. We consider America's Future Series to be a community, and many of the companies that we helped to bring in the door to that event in November of 2020 have stayed in touch with us. Some of them we're already on term sheets with. And so what we're looking to do this year is help some of those companies and other companies get direct investment from patriotic capital that we're introducing them to. And so that's what I call the American Sniper Plan, right? So direct investments into individual companies. The second option is something we're calling the Angel Rolling Fund, which I call Silicon Garage. It's a kind of an incubator type fund, smaller check size. And we're going to be rolling that out this summer. And we really are announcing it officially here, but we'll also be announcing it in Austin next month during South by Southwest as we get that off the ground. And the exciting thing about that is if you're an angel investor, you could actually get involved with that for a relatively low amount of money on a subscription basis. And then later this year, we intend to launch a much larger fund, and you'll see more press about that. But I've dropped a link in the chat, which is to expeditionary.vc. There's a link on there that says deploy with us. You can deploy capital. You can deploy on your mission. And it's a play in words because the three of us are Navy and we've deployed in different ways. But now we're on a mission. We're on an expedition to deploy capital. in order to secure our country and to stay competitive on the global scale. So we invite you to participate with that and deploy with us. We invite you to pitch to us. We invite you to participate in different ways. And we look forward to staying in touch. And back to you guys.
Hi there. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Fantastic conversation. Grahm, Jack, Nick, I want to thank you in particular for all of your support of the America's Future series from our very beginnings, especially when we started trying to help the innovation ecosystem. You guys have been fantastic, and we appreciate all the work that you guys do.
Thanks.
Yep, happy to help anytime.